So children, I am going to tell you the summary of this chapter, The Treasure Within. It is a conversation between Miss Bela Raja and Mr. Hafiz contractor. So let's start the summary. Miss Bela Raja, editor of newsletter, the resource center of the Valley School, Bangalore, had a conversation with Mr. Hafiz contractor, one of India's leading architect. I am going to tell you some points. With that point you will understand the chapter easily. Scared of mathematics. As a schoolboy, Hafiz contractor was scared of mathematics. Even later in life he had terrible dreams about appearing for tests in mathematics. But now he has no such nightmares. He was good at games and playing practical jokes. Principal's advice. Hafiz contractor was in the 11th standard. One day his principal called him and told him that he should act as a responsible grown-up boy. Hafiz had no father and his mother was working hard to pay his school fees. The principal advised him to take his studies seriously. Effect of the principal's advice. The principal's advice had a deep influence on Hafiz. For a whole year, he did not go to the playground. He had never studied his books. He had been passing examinations just by copying. So he studied all the books starting right from the fifth standard. He got 50% marks in his SSC. His principal was pleased with him. Now joining college. Hafiz wanted to join the police force, but his mother wanted him to do his graduation. He wanted to join the army and got his admission later. But his aunt tore it up. It was not easy to join college with only 50% marks. He got admission in Jai Hind College in Mumbai by influence. He had to take up French or German there. Though he had studied French, he knew nothing about it. He decided to take up German, but after some time his German teacher died, so he had to take up French. Going to an architect's office. Hafiz started learning French from a cousin whose husband was an architect. So he had to go to an architect's office. One day he saw somebody drawing a window. He told the man that his window would not open. Later it was found that Hafiz was right. His cousin's husband was impressed. He asked Hafiz to draw a few specific things. Hafiz was able to do it in no time. Then the architect asked him to design a house. Hafiz did that. Hafiz joins College of Architecture. The architect advised him to give up everything and join College of Architecture. But admission was almost impossible. The principal allowed him to appear for the entrance test. Hafiz got A+. He always stood first throughout the course. Hafiz recalls that he had a friend called Varam Divicha at school. Both of them used to have competitions for designing forts and guns. This gave him deep insight how a plan or a section would look like. Learning by doing. Hafiz says that he has learned more by doing than from his school education. He says that there are a number of students who were toppers in schools but are doing ordinary jobs now. Memories of school days. Hafiz remembers that he was kind at school, but he would forget it and would go to the field to play. He also remember that whenever a student lost his button, he would come to Hafiz. He made a button out of chalk. This helped the student to avoid punishment. Hafiz recalls that once he did not want to study, so he created a distraction. They played chore police for an hour. Every Saturday they were allowed to go to a movie. Hafiz was the leader. He collected money from students to buy tickets. On his way back he would have a hearty meal. Planning dams. Hafiz says that if it was raining, he would think of how to build a dam. He would imagine how much water the dam would hold. He was interested in such things more than in his studies. Designing a structure for a client. When a client comes to him asking to design a structure, Hafiz looks at his face and his clothes. He learns about his habits and tastes. This helps him to understand what type of structure his client would like. He says it comes to him, but it is all mathematics. It is the combination of design, construction, psychology, and sociology. Last point, great progress. Hafiz started his career as an apprentice architect. Now he owns a firm that employs more than 350 trained and skilled architects, engineers, and interior decorators. He has designed offices, hotels, railway stations, hospitals, and townships. He is one of the leading architects in India. Children, this is a summary of this chapter.